for junk journal elements, where we are making different templates for things, writing down some directions so that we can refer back to this in the future as we are making new journals. So today's project is going to be a hidden paper clip with a pocket. Now, I've made a bunch of different hidden paper clips, but I've never made one like this where the edges are folded over, and I just feel like it makes such a smooth, nice transition to get in and out of your journals. But the even cooler thing is that it's got a little pocket on the back. So this is a pretty quick and easy project. It's also one that can be adapted a bunch of different ways. And so I'll show you two different ways that I tried it that we can put in our ideas book, but there's lots of experimentation that you can do with this one. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with that. So you're first going to need just a sheet of cardstock. It doesn't have to be double-sided. In fact, it's, you know, you're just going to waste the other side if you do use double-sided. So this happens to be just single-sided cardstock that I had left over. That's why I'm using colored paper for this one. Normally I do white for this, but I had these offcuts from some basic gray paper that I was using for another project. So you're just going to start, it can be any length. It just needs to be, you know, basically longer when you fold over your paper clip. It's just got to be longer than that. So again, that's where your experimentation comes in, is kind of where you place your paper clip, how you do your folds, all of that stuff. So I'm just going to show you just kind of the basic idea of how I saw it done the first time, and I'll link that video below. It was just a reel that I had seen. So for this one, it can be any width, again, so you get to choose kind of what you want, what look you want, how big your journal is, all of those fun things. So you're going to go ahead and fold your paper. I'm doing this one in half, but I'll show you another one where you don't have to fold it in half. And you're going to fold it in on itself. So you want your pattern or your color to be on the inside. And so you just have your white card there. And then you're just going to grab a paper clip. It can be any size. It's not going to be seen, so don't worry about using a nice paper clip. And then you are going to take some glue, and you want a strong glue for this one. I always use 3-in-1, but Fabri-Tac is basically the same thing. They're both made by Beacon. And anytime I am doing something that is heavier than paper on paper, so if I'm gluing like any kind of wooden things or metal things, or in this case paper clips, I always use my 3-in-1. Anytime I'm doing fabric, I just feel like it gives it a better feel. So we're just gluing down that one side, so I just folded it over on the paper clip, and I'm just giving it a good press down, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just kind of folding it up over the paper clip, and then we're going to glue that down really well. Get a good seal on there, and you just want to make sure it's even on the sides. If you were gonna ink, I didn't ink mine, and I just realized that if you were gonna ink, you probably want to do that before, so you'd want to like pre-fold so you know where your folds are, just because it's going to be kind of hard to get, unless you have like I have like little eye makeup brushes that you can kind of get in there, but normally you're not going to be able to get your normal blender inside of that. So if you do want to ink this inside, this short edge, then you definitely want to do that ahead of time. Okay, so that's the basic part for our fold. So now we've got, you know, our paper clip is hidden, and then this is going to be what slips over our page. Okay, so now what we are, okay, so we have both sides glued down. So you have some options here. You can just fold this over and glue that down And then you can decorate the side. If you want to put your pocket there, you could. If you want to do your pocket here, you can. The way that I saw it done was a little bit different. So what she did was she actually cut. So you've got a short edge or a short piece and a long piece. She actually cut the long piece so that it is like 1/4 of an inch shorter than the short piece. So I'm gonna cut quite a bit off of this long edge, and I could do this on my paper trimmer, but I'm choosing not to. Actually, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go a little bit shorter than that because that wasn't quite 1/4. I think in my directions I put 1/4 to 1/2. Okay. And so then what you're gonna do, you probably want to pre-fold that before you glue it down. Okay, so now we're gonna glue just this little flap down on there. Give that a good press. It doesn't want to stay. There we go. It's getting there. Okay, and so now this is going to kind of be your decorative side. This would probably be on the front. So this is on this one. This is where my little flap came over, and then I just put a piece of lace over that. For this part, I just cut a little piece of paper and I rounded the corners on the bottom part. And so I'm just going to glue that over. So that it serves two purposes. One, it's decorative, but it also gives a good seal to keep that little flap closed. Okay. And so then I could decorate this side however I want. And then the idea is that your bigger side that is just all one wide open space, that's where your pocket's going to go. So for this one, I did a pocket out of some wide burlap lace on there. For this one, I'm just using some of that same cardstock. I rounded the corners to kind of mimic the front, and then I'm just going to glue that to the bottom. And then that makes my little pocket there. Okay. So now we can see we've got a pocket and our pocket there. And then we can decorate that however we want. Okay. So that is one way. The other way you can do it is just kind of play around with different folds. So you could fold here. So I went only about 1/3 of the way, and then put your paper clip on there. Fold it up, fold it over, and then you can again decide how do you want to do that. You can come all the way over. In that case, your pocket would actually cover that seam, so you could make that a little pocket like that and then leave this side open. So that's another. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to glue that down just so I can have two different points of reference in my book. So this is going to come this way. So probably don't even need to really glue that back side. So we'll just add some glue here. I'm just kind of playing around this morning and trying out some different things with that. Okay, so it still gives us our piece here. And then for this side, let's go ahead and give that a better little trim. I will put some glue on there, and then I'll cut it to size once we get it placed. Okay, So that's option number 2. Right, and so that still gives us our little pocket right there. So now we've got 2 different ways of doing it. So this is a fun one just to kind of play around with. Like I said, I liked it because I liked having just the clean edges to go over your page in your journal. I thought that was really nice. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and get these into our book. Let's get our directions out. So we're going to fold a piece of paper in half, and I put an asterisk here because then at the bottom I said experiment with different folds, lengths, widths. You may not need to trim the ends, so it just depends on how you do it. You're going to place your paper clip over the fold. You're going to fold and glue each side over the paper clip. If you're doing it the way that I showed you the first time, then you're going to trim that long end so that it's 1/4 to 1/2 inch shorter than the short end, and then fold each flap over and glue it down. Add your paper, lace, or ribbon over that seam, add a pocket on the back, and then decorate as desired. So this is just a fun one to kind of play around with, have some fun, do some different things with it. Let's see if we can get this on here. Put one on this side. Okay, and this is gonna stick up a bit, I think. Is that just getting caught on there? Okay, let's see. Both of those stuck. I think it's just getting caught on something. Oh no, it's because that's how I folded it. Okay, so that's where now I'm learning something, because I hadn't put it on the paper. So if you do it the original way, where you're trimming those ends, it's not going to stick all the way down. If you fold it all the way over, like I did on this one, and keep the ends the same, then it does slide all the way down your page. So that's going to determine which method you want to use. Okay, so it's all going to depend on kind of where those folds are. So play around with it. I highly recommend doing some pre-folding before you decide which one you actually want to stick with. Okay, and then we're just going to put our title on the actual paper clip. There we go. All right, that is our hidden paper clip with a pocket with different variations. All right, hope you have fun with it, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.